RFK Jr. wants to put a wearable on every American, and he's not asking. He says it's about health, about taking control of your body, about freedom through information. But critics say it's something else entirely. A quiet push toward mass surveillance, a distraction from discredited autism claims, and a goldmine for the people closest to him. While Americans are debating boosters and biometric data, Kennedy is already rewriting the rules, from vaccine policy to fertility panic to who controls your health decisions. This isn't just about tech, it's about power. And what RFK Jr. is building behind the scenes could change everything. It started with a simple pitch: get healthier, live longer, know your body better. But when RFK Jr. took the stage at a House Health Subcommittee hearing, he wasn't just recommending wearables, he was announcing a national movement. Every American, he said, should be wearing a wearable within 4 years. Smartwatches, rings, patches, even sensor-lined clothing, all tracking blood sugar, heart rate, sleep cycles, calories burned. He called it the cornerstone of his MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. To Kennedy, these devices offer power. The power to see exactly how food affects your body, how exercise shapes your health, and how small changes might transform your life. And in his words, they let people take responsibility. But not everyone is sold. Digital health experts warn that while wearables can motivate some people to move more or sleep better, the science isn't bulletproof. And for most Americans, the benefits may not be worth the cost or the data risk, because with every heartbeat and every breath recorded, someone else might be listening. Transition. And what Kennedy didn't mention that day is what makes this story so much more complicated, because wearables aren't just changing behavior, they're changing the rules. The idea sounds empowering. Real-time data helping people make smarter choices. But experts say that's only part of the picture. Wearables grew out of a movement called the quantified self, a tech-driven philosophy that treats your body like a dashboard. Calories in, steps taken, heart rate zones, all tracked and analyzed like tuning up a machine. In theory, it's brilliant. But in practice, the results are mixed. Some studies show that wearables can push people to move more, eat better, even spot early signs of illness. Others reveal a harder truth. Most users lose interest. Devices end up in drawers, habits stay unchanged, and data goes unused. Dr. David McManus from UMass Chan put it bluntly. It's not that the sensors don't work. It's that people don't. Even the best metrics can't force someone off the couch. And there's another concern. What happens when nudging becomes pushing? When daily health data is used to pressure people into certain diets, lifestyles, even medical decisions? Suddenly, it's not just about helping people, it's about shaping them. Transition. But RFK Jr.'s next move wasn't about wearables. It was about a disorder that's sparked conspiracy theories for years. And he says he's about to solve it. In April, RFK Jr. made a declaration that stunned even his critics. By September, he said, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic. For decades, scientists around the world have studied autism's rise, pointing to better diagnostics, broader definitions, and increased awareness. But Kennedy isn't buying it. He believes something artificial is at play. And he's launched a massive federal investigation to prove it. Hundreds of researchers hand-picked to study the roots of autism. Leading that effort? David Geyer, a known vaccine skeptic who's been sanctioned for practicing medicine without a license. Geyer's past studies linking vaccines to autism have been widely debunked, and in some cases, retracted. And yet, under Kennedy's leadership as health secretary, those claims are getting fresh federal support. This isn't a fringe theory anymore. It's government-backed research. The backlash was immediate. Dr. Peter Marks, the FDA's top vaccine expert, resigned in protest. He accused Kennedy of flooding the agency with misinformation and lies. And still, Kennedy doubled down, citing a spike in diagnoses, from 1 in 10,000 kids in his youth to 1 in 31 today. Even Donald Trump chimed in, saying, "Maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it." Transition. But autism isn't the only crisis Kennedy sees looming. Because next, he claimed something far more personal is under attack: the future of the American male. RFK Jr. isn't just worried about autism. He's sounding the alarm on something even more primal: male fertility. In speech after speech, he's repeated a stunning claim. Teenage boys today have half the sperm of men in their 60s. He's called it an existential problem, blaming everything from environmental toxins to hormone-disrupting chemicals to the American diet. The statement is dramatic and scientifically shaky. Experts were quick to push back. Sperm counts do naturally decline with age, meaning older men have lower levels, not higher. And data on teen boys is incredibly limited. Most scientists agree there's little proof of a full-blown fertility collapse. But that hasn't stopped the fear. Across social media, wellness influencers, fitness gurus, and even some young men are now taking drastic steps, freezing sperm, cutting out sex, or starting testosterone therapy. Some have latched onto a fringe philosophy known as semen retention, which exploded on TikTok and Instagram in recent years. Ironically, Kennedy himself admitted in a Newsmax interview that he's on testosterone replacement therapy, a treatment that many doctors say can shut down sperm production entirely. Meanwhile, the science is far from settled. Some studies point to a small, gradual decline in sperm count over time. Others say there's no real trend. But Kennedy's message isn't about nuance, it's about urgency. And that message is resonating with a growing crowd that believes something unnatural is changing the human body. Transition. And while Kennedy warns of a fertility crisis, behind the scenes, he's been quietly reshaping vaccine policy, triggering a war inside the FDA. While the public focused on Kennedy's warnings about autism and sperm counts, a quieter, and far more consequential, battle was unfolding behind closed doors. RFK Jr. wasn't just challenging vaccine narratives. He was rewriting the rules. As health secretary, Kennedy and his appointees overruled FDA career scientists, not once but twice, slashing COVID-19 vaccine approvals from broad public use down to only seniors and high-risk individuals. Novavax wanted approval for everyone 12 and up. Moderna did too. FDA scientists reviewed the data and said yes. But Kennedy's inner circle said no. Dr. Vinay Prasad, handpicked to lead the FDA's vaccine division after the ousting of longtime director Peter Marks, issued override memos questioning the safety data and minimizing COVID's current threat. The result? A dramatic shift in policy. Only the elderly and vulnerable could receive the newest shots, a move that blindsided vaccine makers and stunned public health experts. And it wasn't just the decisions, it was how they were made. Long-standing FDA protocol gives career scientists the final say on vaccine approvals. Commissioners rarely intervene. But Kennedy's appointees didn't just intervene. They replaced the entire chain of command. Dr. Tracy Beth Hogue, another vocal skeptic of pandemic-era vaccine strategy, was brought in as special assistant to the FDA commissioner. The CDC's Independent Vaccine Advisory Committee, dismantled and replaced with Kennedy's own picks. Supporters call it accountability. Critics call it sabotage. Transition. But while Kennedy reshaped public health from the inside, his critics began asking a tougher question. Who stands to benefit from all of this? RFK Jr. says wearables are about freedom and personal responsibility. But behind the scenes, some of the people closest to him could be cashing in. Take Casey Means, Kennedy's nominee for U.S. Surgeon General. She co-founded Levels, a wellness app that pairs with wearable devices to track glucose and other biometric data. The same kinds of data Kennedy wants every American collecting daily. Then there's Callie Means, her brother and a close advisor to Kennedy. His company, TrueMed, allows people to use Health Savings Account, HSA funds, to purchase wearable tech, like fitness trackers and biometric monitors. So let's break that down. Kennedy is pushing wearables on a national scale. His Surgeon General nominee helped build a wearable-linked app. His advisor runs a company that profits when more people buy those devices, especially with public health dollars. It's all perfectly legal. But to critics, it raises red flags. Is this a public health initiative or a soft rollout of a government-backed wellness industry? RFK Jr. frames it as empowering people to take control of their health. But if the government starts encouraging, subsidizing, or even requiring biometric monitoring, who controls the data? And who profits from the tools? Transition. And that's the question haunting this entire plan. Because the future Kennedy is building might not feel like health freedom at all. RFK Jr. brands his agenda as making America healthy again. But critics warn it's starting to sound less like a movement and more like a mandate. Picture a world where every heartbeat, every step, every bite of food you take is logged, analyzed, and possibly shared. Where government-backed campaigns push biometric monitoring for your own good. Where your health choices, what you eat, how much you move, when you sleep, aren't just personal anymore. They're policy, and that's where the line blurs. Kennedy says wearables offer control. But what happens when employers, insurers, or federal programs start requiring them? Some experts warn more data means more risk, hacks, leaks, algorithms determining risk scores. One JAMA article even cautioned that health insurers could use wearable data to raise premiums or deny coverage, especially if your metrics showed too little activity or borderline blood pressure. Kennedy says he wants to empower people, but in practice, his plan could open the door to algorithmic discrimination with real-world consequences. And there's another worry: mission creep. Once wearables become the norm for health, what stops the government from expanding their use to law enforcement, social programs, or even voting eligibility? That might sound extreme, but so did the idea of national health trackers just a few years ago. Transition. And as all this unfolds, one final question looms. Is RFK Jr. fixing the system or building a new one in his own image? RFK Jr.'s vision of a wearable on every wrist might sound like a health revolution, a way to finally put control in the hands of everyday Americans. But beneath the surface lies a far more complicated story. From controversial autism research and fertility fears to reshaping vaccine policy and backing wearable tech tied to his closest allies, Kennedy is quietly redefining what health freedom means. Is this about empowering people or about expanding influence, control, and profit? The answers aren't clear yet, but one thing is certain. The future of American health won't just be decided by science or medicine. It will be shaped by politics, power plays, and the unseen forces behind the screens tracking every beat of our bodies. So the next time you strap on a device, ask yourself, whose freedom are you really wearing? Because in this new world of biometric surveillance, the line between health and control is thinner than ever. What do you think? Is wearable tech the key to better health, or a step towards something far darker? Let me know down below in the comments section, what do you think about all of this? Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Well, that's all for this video. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Now Famous Feed for more content like this. And check out our TikTok page for even more videos. Your support is appreciated as always. Thank you, and see you in the next one.